afternoon. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much to the Hong Kong Open Printshop, led by Mr. Kong Ho Yin, for such wonderfully staging the beautiful works of Tadayoshi Nakabayashi sensei, and especially to Jung, who I've been coordinating with. Thank you for your patience. I came across Tadayoshi Nakabayashi through my research of another artist. They so happen to be classmates in the Tokyo National University of Fine Arts and Music, which is now the Tokyo University of Arts. And they're still very good friends right now. In fact, whatever I told the one artist, the other artist bound to know what happened. But their styles are very different. Their temperaments likewise very, very different. The first Nakabayashi work that I own is a small one. It's called Transposition Ground, 1982, number 2. It's a small one. I acquired it online without seeing it. But when it arrived, I was very surprised. I was blown away. The texture, the technique was impeccable. And in less than a month, I bought 5 more works. And then I continued to collect on that Transposition Ground series. And then after that, I collected his earlier series called the Position series. And then his even earlier works. I suppose that's my way of trying to understand his journey, his approach, and his philosophy. When the Hong Kong Open Printshop carefully selected 22 works from the more than 65 works that I have, and all of them are from the Transposition Ground, I was not surprised. I suppose that they must have felt what I felt when I first saw and handled the works of the Transposition Ground series. I won't go through his Nakabayashi's life. It's all out there. But I want to share why I love his work. I think the first thing that we all notice, I imagine, is that there's a sense of uneasiness when we look at his work. And mainly because we are so used to the fact that when we go into a gallery, we see the works on the wall. But this time we are being asked to look at the ground. And it is this same shift of perspective that happened when Nakabayashi carved a piece of the ground and put it at the eye level. So we are looking at something that we are not used to, that we tend to associate when we only look down, nod, or bow. And this mental act, when we're looking at it, there's a mental act that we are actually looking down, bowing, and that mental act provokes a sense of admission, submission, meditation, veneration, and even recognition. Admission and submission, like when your mom is telling you off and you say, yeah, okay. Meditation, when you're praying. Veneration, when you meet somebody who you really respect. Or recognition, when you bow to an audience. So all these mental acts is put on the nature of the fact that you're looking at the ground. The very ground that last year's grass was decomposing, and this year's grass is growing. And if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll see the ground of yesteryears. And all this, Nakabayashi rendered them not in color, but in black and white, in light and shadow. And for me, this represents the yin and yang of our lives, the good and bad, life and death. So for me, every time I see Nakabayashi's work, it reminds me of life, but also the inevitability of death. So when it comes to Transposition Ground, aren't we all just above the ground or below it? So that's why I love his work. So thank you very much to everyone for coming, and I really do hope that you enjoy, but more importantly, have a thoughtful visit to this beautiful installation. Thank you.